What we have for you here today is a very specialized 4x4 that we've launched and introduced here to the Eurosatory visitors. When we started working with the Turkish Land Forces, they wanted a very specific 4x4 that could be amphibious, it could fire an anti-tank missile-guided weapon system with a high degree of blast protection and ballistic protection. And so with that, we had to design a very, very unique vehicle to meet those requirements. I should also note that after we finalized the requirements with the Turkish end user, it took us 18 months to design, develop, and produce this vehicle along with 2 other test vehicles. So within 18 months, we will begin testing both qualification tests for the weapon system and the vehicle. As you look at the vehicle, it's got a very unique shape, and a lot of that is driven by the amphibious requirement. You have a very high approach angle, a very high departure angle, but you'll also notice that the mobility of the vehicle is also at a very high degree. We have 12 inches of travel, both front and rear, fully independent suspension. It is a crew of 4. And then you'll also notice on top there's a very unique weapon station. This weapon station was also designed and developed by FNSS, and it can fire right now 2 types of anti-tank guided missiles. It's the Kornet system and the Turkish-made by Roketsan OMTAS system. And in the future, we'll also integrate the Javelin system from the US. One of the main goals of this vehicle was reconnaissance missions, and situational awareness is always key in reconnaissance missions. So we wanted to keep the vision as high as possible for both the operator and the commander, which sit at the front of the vehicle. And then you have 2 other occupants that sit at the rear of the vehicle, and they will also manage the loading and unloading of the weapon system and the firing of the weapon system. What is also unique about this vehicle, because of its amphibious requirement, is we had to locate the engine in the rear. You don't see many 4x4s with a rear-mounted engine, but for amphibious operations, it makes the vehicle much more balanced. And you'll see we have the propeller system. There's 2 propellers to meet our water speed requirement. So it's a fully amphibious for river crossing, bay crossing, lake crossing, and at the same time, as I mentioned earlier, a very high degree of mobility with 12 inches of clearance, both front and rear. All you need to do is drop your trim vane, depending on your departure angle, which can take less than 60 seconds, and you can cross a river. There's a door on each side, and then there's also a hatch on the top, and this allows loading of the weapon system. From a ballistic point of view, protection is the same, 360 degrees around the vehicle. And from a blast point of view, it's also at a very high degree and aligns STANAG-wise with the ballistic protection. We do utilize a V-hole design for maximum blast protection. We've designed the vehicle at the same level, STANAG-wise, for both underbelly and underwheel. Right now, we've set the speed at 110 kilometers per hour. We can raise that if the customer requires it, and it also has a range of 700 kilometers. So we've built 2 test vehicles, but this will be our first vehicle delivered to the customer for qualification testing. We also just went through our first initial qualification test on our weapon system just 3 weeks ago. Very first shot, we hit the bullseye within 8 centimeters from 4.2 kilometers away. So right now for the Turkish end user, they just want to use this vehicle for reconnaissance missions with the anti-tank guided missile weapon system. But in the future, we have other possibilities outside of Turkey for some of our other international customers, where they also would want to utilize this vehicle for some other operations. We've already had some detailed discussions with some of our Middle Eastern customers, some of our Southeast Asian customers, and we're looking for other opportunities as well here in Europe, and that's why we're here at Eurosatory launching this vehicle for the first time at this great show in Paris, France.